Begins at around 12:45 of the same day. We see that only Edmund is in the living room, and their maidservant Catherine brings wine, and she is actually Kathleen is actually very chatty and flirty, and she says that Edmund is handsome and things like that. In the ending of the first act, there is a conversation between Edmund and his mother, and actually Mary promises Edmund not to take morphine again. Things like that happens, but then she herself remembers that she has broken this promise several times, so it is like that. Now Edmund is asking Kathleen to call his father Tyrone and the others for lunch. And just then Jamie enters. And he drinks wine from the wine bottle, and they pour in water. Now this has happened before. They have drunk from the father's wine bottle before also, and then they pour water instead of whiskey, so that the level is kept the same. So this is called watering the bottle. And then Jamie sort of scolds Edmund for leaving his mother alone without supervision, because she might take morphine again. Now there are a lot of dialogue going on in between in the second act, and all of it point out to how they are disheartened, disillusioned about each other, about themselves in their life, and things like that. Most of the dialogues in this scene is pertaining to Mary's addiction, and how Edmund and Jamie are concerned about Mary's addiction, how they do not want her to do that. But we also see that they both are also addicted to very many things themselves. Jamie is an alcoholic, a very bad alcoholic at that, and then Mary tries to defend herself, saying that she was not doing all these things and things like that. But they don't believe. Edmund is sort of supporting his mother, and Jamie is sort of, he despises both Edmund and Mary at sometimes for doing these things. So this introduces us to alcohol, one of the greatest motives in this play. Through drinking, the male characters try to escape from their problems that haunt them. But however, we notice that this makes them no different from Mary, who is also a different kind of drug addict. That Mary is frustrated. She is fed up of that summer house in which they are living, and she says that there is no renovation here, nothing is new here. There is a sense of shabbiness everywhere, gloominess, boredom, and things like that. And she says that even between the Tyrone and Mary, there is a kind of detachment, and maybe because of this detachment, Tyrone has been bearing her addiction for so long, because that doesn't mean anything to him. Maybe that's why he is enduring all these things. And she says that she wants to lie down for some time, and she goes away. There are many things that we see as a block in this family. They are actually trying to escape from reality, hiding reality from each other. They don't confront each other just like that. They do fight, but then they don't come to the real point. So they are not communicating effectively and efficiently between each other. And their problem solving is also a different kind. It's not apt to what needs to be done. They are escaping. They are hiding behind things, and sometimes they blame fate. For instance, Mary is blaming fate for the problems in the family. Act 3 begins 6:30 in the evening of the same day. We see that Mary and Kathleen are in the living room. Kathleen has just come back after buying morphine for Mary. And we see that Mary is making excuses as to why she needs morphine. Kathleen sees that these excuses are just, excuses. And Mary tells that she is in deep pain. She speaks about how she was in love with, playing piano, how she liked to be a nun, and in the mid, fate made her fall in love with Tyrone, and she came to marry him and bear children for him. And then she didn't like theater, but now she has to bear with all these these things. These are the things she is speaking with Kathleen. Kathleen is not that interested, and she is in a hurry to go back to the kitchen to continue preparing dinner. Mary takes morphine and she is in a daze. So when she dozes off, Kathleen goes off to prepare dinner. The haze of the drugs, she is again reminded about bitter memories of the past, her failures, and her disappointments in her family, and things like that. And she is trying to go upstairs before her children and her husband comes back home. Now we see that Edmund and Tyrone comes back. Mary pretends as if she has not taken morphine, she has not taken drugs. Both the men are drunk, but they too pretend they are not that drunk. Jamie does not come back home. He wants to continue drinking and wants to visit a war house. Now Mary calls him a hopeless case, and seeing the wife's condition like that, Tyrone thinks, why at all he came back home so early? So he goes out. Maybe on the pretext of drinking some more. Now, Edmund tells his mother that he is really sick and he has tuberculosis. She disagrees with that, and she says that it must be some kind of wrong diagnosis, and she discredits Dr. Hardy for that, and she says that he is not a reliable person and things like that. She has a past experience of being administered to morphine, and those things comes back again into conversation here slightly. And then Edmund actually is not in good terms with his mother, because morning she had promised that she will not take morphine again, and now she is in a drug haze. So he is angry with his mother and he goes out. Now Tyrone comes in, and Tyrone sees his wife like this. He also sees that Jamie has tried to break the shelf, the lock of the shelf which has whiskey and all his drinks there.